And right after your plus two, also your parents and relatives, friends, all of you might have all of them might have told you to select another career or to choose what is going to be in your future. Again, you chose to become something or graduate in a BA English. So there are umpteen number of facilities or job opportunities all around the globe. The only thing is that you have to find out your own job. You have to find out what is good for you or what you are good at. These are the things which you have to look into. So I'll be briefly covering certain things related to cover letter, resume, and CV. And I hope that resume and CV is very familiar to you. And cover letter too is very familiar to you, but you have not gone through it or you have not written it for a purpose. You might have written it for your exam, but not for a real life purpose. So I usually go for sessions for students of placement and all those training regarding. And there, cover letter, resume, and CV is one of the most important procedure to get into a job. So beginning with a small definition or question, what is a cover letter? Can someone put in it as a message, or can someone open up your mic and speak? Alina, Anil, can you define what is cover letter according to your vision? Alina, Anil, or Anne Marie George, Almitra, anyone. I am calling out names which are very familiar to me. Others, you can put a message also, no problem.
It's a letter regarding what we wish to be a part of.
Okay, it's a letter regarding what we wish to be a part of, like what job you're looking to, isn't it? That's what you have mentioned. Okay, thank you. And so here comes the answer. It's a one-page document, not more than that. Okay, and it introduces a job seeker's work history, professional skills, and personal interest in applying for a job. That's the smallest definition I can find out. It introduces a job seeker. Suppose if I am the job seeker, it introduces my skills, my history, my work history, and my personal interest in applying for the job, whichever it might be. Okay, and all these things are being concluded into one page. And its purpose is to introduce you and briefly summarize your professional background. So whenever you send a resume or a CV to for a job, all of a sudden you won't be get selected, but instead they might be looking for a cover letter. And people nowadays say that cover letter is not necessary, but still cover letter is something which is very professional and very important when you get into a serious job. Not for simple jobs like for simple jobs, I don't think they need a cover letter. But if you're looking for a higher position or a good job, you might be asked to write a cover letter too, because they need to look into the details of your resume and CV only if your cover letter is good enough. It explains why you would be good fit for the company, because there are limitations to express yourself when you are presenting your resume. And cover letter is actually a bypass which explains more about you and explains why you will be good for the company. And on an average scale, the length of a cover letter begins from 250 words to 400 words. That's the ideal length of a cover letter. Now, why should you have a cover letter? What is the importance of having a cover letter? First one, your resume focuses on your qualifications and achievements. You know that you put all your details like your education qualifications, your awards, and all those things, achievements, all those things are being put in the resume. But a cover letter expands on those achievements, showcases your personality. That's the difference. And as I mentioned earlier, nowadays people say that it is old fashioned, but cover letters are still necessary when you look into a serious job. So there are many formats for writing cover letters when you present it to another person. Here comes a tried, tested format of presenting your cover letter to another person. These are the headings which comes into it. We'll look into it in detail. the header where you put your contact information, then you greet the hiring manager, then you begin with the opening paragraph where you have to grab the attention of your hiring manager with 2 or 3 main achievements which you have got. Then comes the second paragraph, which explains why you are the perfect candidate for the job. Why should the company not look for another person and you should look for me? That's what which is to be mentioned in the second paragraph. And in the third paragraph, you explain why you are a good match for the company. And you end with a formal closing. So most probably this is the type of setting which you use for a covering letter. Okay, it begins with a header and closes with a formal closing, and in between you have a greeting, a formal greeting, and you have 3 different paragraphs. You can go up to 4 or 5, no problem, if you have many things to be explained. Otherwise, you can limit yourself into 2 to 3 paragraphs. Beginning with a header. It includes your full name, your phone number, your email, the date of the letter, name of the hiring manager, their professional title. You might get the name of your hiring manager, or you can put it as like dear hiring manager or dear the team, something like that. Name of the company you are applying to. In certain cases, you might also consider adding your social media profiles like LinkedIn, Facebook. It's optional. It's better to have a good LinkedIn account if you have one, and maintain it also. Not just making an account in LinkedIn brings you so much of facilities. No, you have to make an account, you have to build your account, and you have to maintain your LinkedIn account also. Facebook, when you're sharing your Facebook ID or Facebook profile with another person, it doesn't mean that the company will be looking into the messages and chat messages and nothing like that. But they'll be going through your activities on Facebook, like what are your likes and dislikes, what are the pages which you follow, what are the comments which you have given to another person's post, what are the things which you follow. Even your Instagram accounts might be looked into. So all your activities online should be in a serious mode when you go for a job. Then your personal website, if you have any. It's not necessary that you should have a website, but if you are a person, or if you are an experienced person, it's better to have a professional website for yourself. Then how to greet the hiring manager. Most probably what he uses, dear sir or madam. But it's not necessary that you have to use the same old dialogue. You can change it, or you can try different changes into it. Now, how do you find out who is the hiring manager? How do you find it out? It's a simple method, nothing but you can look up on Instagram or Facebook, or especially on the LinkedIn account, or go to the Google, search for the website of the particular company or the firm which you are working for. You'll have all the details like hiring manager, the HR manager, even the name of the manager, and all those things will be published in the website or in the LinkedIn account. So it's easy to find out the names. And here are the several other greetings which you can use instead of dear sir or madam. It begins with dear department manager. Since it's a hiring department, dear hiring manager, you can put it as it is. Or you can put it at to whomever it may concern. Dear department team, you can put it as dear hiring team. And begin with your attention grabbing introduction. How to impress another person. Always, as we say, the first impression is the best impression. So direct introduction by including following details in the first 1 or 2 sentences. All right, you can put the job position, the title of the advertised position, because only after publishing it in some kind of medium, you get to know about the position, isn't it? So whenever you are applying for a job, always mention the job position which you are applying for. the name of the company. When you're typing in the name of the company, please do recheck the spelling. Otherwise, there are chances that you might be rejected because of the wrong spelling of the company. How you discovered the opening, whether you saw it in a LinkedIn or a job portal, or some of your friends have recommended it to you, always mention it in the first paragraph itself. And why did you apply for this job? How enthusiastic are you for joining in this particular open role? And express your love for the company. Why would you like to join this particular company? These are the things which should be included in the first paragraph. And always highlight a past achievement. All these things should be included. The next thing comes with explaining why you are the perfect person for the job. Here you can show off a little of your professional skills, like the achievements which you have got, and convince the HR manager that you are the perfect person for the job. Sometimes you might have got kind of achievements like best performer of the month, maybe a few times, or you might have boosted the sales of the company which you were working before. In one or two paragraph plus the bullet points, like if you have some bullet points, you can add those things also, and learn what the most important requirements are for the role you are applying for. Are you applying for the post of a job where you need to know 3 different languages? Suppose the company says that you should know 3 different languages. Make sure that you know those things, otherwise you are going to be fired. And here comes a set of instructions for the job seekers with experience. I'll be discussing the same for the people who have no experience at all. Always mention the professional achievements which you have got. Did you exceed targets for production? Or have you increased the sales revenue? Have you improved the profit for the old company which you are working for? Are you good at customer satisfaction or any other business objectives? All right, these are the things which comes under the professional achievements. Professional praise, if you have got any. Have you received any compliments from the management or colleagues for your work which you have done? That belongs to the professional praise. Then professional awards. Have you received any awards for your work? Just like I had mentioned about employee of the month or best performer of the month, all these things can be mentioned. And for job seekers like you people who have not got any job experiences, always highlight your academic and other achievements. If you have got very high score in your exams, always mention that. Extracurricular activities. Have you done any kind of part-time jobs during your studies? Or have you gone to like sort of, have you been part of a part-time job? Have you involved in any volunteering activities or student government activities? Any clubs? Are you good at athletics, theater, or any other activities? Do you have any kind of hobbies and interests? But always mention those extracurricular activities which are really important for the job you are applying for. And self-motivation and goal setting. How good are you at your job? What are your short-term goals? Maybe when you're sitting in front of the interview board, they might ask you, where do you see yourself in coming 5 years? You should have a better plan for coming 5 years. And that's why I said it's high time that you decide what to join for or what you're going to become. And just remember that any of the information you include should be relevant to the role what you are applying for. നിങ്ങൾ ഏത് ജോലിക്കാണോ അപ്ലൈ ചെയ്യുന്നത് ആ ജോലിക്ക് റിലവൻ്റ് ആകുന്ന ഇൻഫർമേഷൻ മാത്രമേ കൊടുക്കാവൂ. ഒരു ക്ലറിക്കൽ സ്റ്റാഫിന്റെ പോസ്റ്റിലേക്ക് അപ്ലൈ ചെയ്യാൻ ഉദ്ദേശിക്കുന്ന ആനിനെ പോലുള്ളൊരു ക്യാരക്ടറിന് ട്രാവലിംഗ് ഇഷ്ടമാണ്, എനിക്ക് ഇങ്ങനെ ലോകം ചുറ്റി നടക്കുന്നതാണ് ഇഷ്ടം എന്ന് പറയുന്നതിൽ അർത്ഥമില്ല. ബിക്കോസ് ദേ വോണ്ട് യു ടു വർക്ക് ഫ്രം ദ ഓഫീസ്. പക്ഷെ ഒരു സെയിൽസ് ജോബിന് അപ്ലൈ ചെയ്യുന്ന ഒരാളെ സംബന്ധിച്ചിടത്തോളം ട്രാവലിംഗ് ഇഷ്ടമാണ് എന്ന് പറയുന്നത് ഒരു പോസിറ്റീവ് ആയിട്ടുള്ള കാര്യമാണ്. Alright, that's a small example. Then you wrap up the whole thing. You wrap up any points you couldn't tell in the previous paragraphs. ആദ്യത്തെ 2-3 പാരഗ്രാഫിലായിട്ട് you had mentioned certain things, but you couldn't mention 1 or 2 points. You can put it in the last paragraph. Always thank the hiring manager for their time, because they are when you send a letter to that person is actually spending 5 to 10 minutes on each cover letter. So always thank that person and finish the cover letter with a call to action, which means you should tell them that you are waiting for their call or you are ready to attend the interview. And always use a formal closing like sincerely, best regards, thank you, respectfully, kind regards. All those things can be used, just like you close an official letter. And here comes the explanation for a resume. I hope you understood the things which you have to put up in a cover letter. I'll be showing you a template towards the end of the session, but I always support people who build their own resumes or cover letters, because once you get into looking into a template, there are chances that so much of mistakes are being included into it. There are umpteen number of websites which are available on the Google, where you can go and download any sort of templates which are available. But the problem is there are chances of mistakes also. While I was sitting for a mock interview for one of my students, I don't know whether I've said the same story before. I found out a resume which was so perfect, beautiful in nature, and I asked that particular candidate to build the same resume through my computer. I handed my computer to that person and I said to build the same resume, can you? But that person could not build the resume, and easily I could find out that this was a template. But I had asked that person, was it built by that person itself, when they said that it is their own. So never do such activities, and especially the dates and places and all those things mentioned on the online templates might be something regarded with the US or UK clients, not for we people in India. So you have to always look through that. So a resume is a document which is used by a person to present their own skills or background. And it typically is not longer than 2 pages. 2 പേജിൽ കൂടാൻ പാടില്ല റെസ്യൂമെ. നമുക്ക് റെസ്യൂമയും സി വിയും തമ്മിലുള്ളൊരു വ്യത്യാസം എന്താണെന്നുള്ളത് വരുന്ന സ്ലൈഡിൽ നമ്മൾ പറയുന്നുണ്ട്. So resume should not be longer than 2 pages. You should always consider it as 1 or 2 pages only. And it is used to make an individual stand out from the competition. How well are you, or what is the difference which you have from another person? Why should you compete with the person? These are the things which should be mentioned in the resume. What are the features of a resume? The job seeker should actually adapt the resume to every position they apply for. For each job, you have to tailor it according to the need of that role. Suppose if you are applying for a job of a teacher, definitely you should have certain qualities or achievements which are really related with the teaching job and which is not needed for a clerical post. So both job positions are different, and the qualifications are also different. So should be your resume also. That is the applicant interest to change the resume from one job application to another and tailor it to the needs of the specific post. Always think about which is the job which you are looking for. ആ ജോലിക്ക് കണക്കാക്കിയിട്ടുള്ള റെസ്യൂമെ പ്രിപ്പയർ ചെയ്യാനായിട്ട് ശ്രമിക്കുക. അതല്ലാതെ ഒരു റെസ്യൂമെ ഉണ്ടാക്കിയിട്ട് ഒരു 10-20 കമ്പനിക്ക് ഒരുമിച്ച് പടപടാന്ന് പറഞ്ഞ് അയച്ചു കൊടുക്കുന്നത് ഒട്ടും ശരിയല്ല. അത് മാത്രമല്ല, അത് കിട്ടുന്ന ആളെ സംബന്ധിച്ചിടത്തോളം അയാൾക്ക് അത് കാണുമ്പോൾ തന്നെ അറിയാനും പറ്റും അയാൾ ഒരു സീരിയസ് ആയിട്ടുള്ള ഒരു ജോബ് സീക്കർ ആണോ എന്നുള്ളത് മനസ്സിലാക്കാനായിട്ട് പറ്റും. And it doesn't mean that it should be ordered chronologically. ഒരു ഡേറ്റ് വൈസ് ആയിട്ട് ക്രോണോളജിക്കൽ ആയിട്ട് ഇത് അറേഞ്ച് ചെയ്യണം എന്ന് യാതൊരു നിർബന്ധവുമില്ല റെസ്യൂമിയുടെ കാര്യത്തിൽ. And it shouldn't necessarily cover the whole career. നിങ്ങൾ ഇതുവരെ എവിടം വരെയൊക്കെ ജോലി ചെയ്തോ അതിനെല്ലാം കവർ ചെയ്യുന്ന തരത്തിലൊന്നും വേണ്ട റെസ്യൂമെ. റെസ്യൂമെ is only tailored for that particular job which you are applying for. And it's highly customizable. Now here comes the differences between a CV and a resume. I hope some of you might have listened to the same session before. Can someone put in the differences between a CV and a resume? ഒരു റെസ്യൂമേയും സിവിയും തമ്മിലുള്ള ഒരു ഡിഫറൻസ് ആർക്കെങ്കിലും പറഞ്ഞുതരാമോ? And Mary, can you? Are you here? Gautam, can you? Yes, Anne.
Yes, sir.
Yes. What are the differences between a CV and a resume? We had already discussed it.
അങ്ങനൊക്കെ ചോദിച്ചാ
നമ്മളിതിന് മുമ്പത്തെ സെഷനിൽ കവർ ചെയ്തിട്ടുള്ളതാണ്.
ഞാൻ മുന്നത്തെ സെക്ഷനിൽ ഉണ്ടായിരുന്നില്ല.
ഞാൻ ഉണ്ടായിരുന്നില്ല അല്ലേ?
സോറി സർ.
ഇല്ല, കുഴപ്പമില്ല, ഞാൻ ജസ്റ്റ് ചോദിച്ചേ ഉള്ളൂ. Is there anyone who can put in the answer? Srishma, Almitra? Difference between a CV and a resume. ഒരു റെസ്യൂമേയും സിവിയും തമ്മിലുള്ള വ്യത്യാസം.
Sir.
Yes, Swati.
Sir, in a CV, full report of full our curriculum, whole course of our career will be described in a CV. Whereas resume, it is more specified.
Yes. Anything else which you remember? What Swati said was exactly correct. ഒരു വലിയ വാലിഡ് ആയിട്ടുള്ള ഒരു പോയിന്റ് ആണ്. Anything else, Swati?
CV is mainly for academic purpose.
CV is mainly for academic purpose. That's not actually fine. What about resume?
കൂടുതൽ ജോബിനാണ് സ്പെസിഫൈ ചെയ്യുന്നത്, സ്പെസിഫൈഡ് പൊസിഷൻസ്.
സ്പെസിഫൈഡ് പൊസിഷൻസിന് വേണ്ടിയിട്ടുള്ളതാണ്. ഓക്കെ. ഇനി മറ്റെന്തെങ്കിലും? Anything else? Anyone else? വേറെ ആർക്കും വേണമെങ്കിലും പറയാം. ഫാത്തിമ, റസ്മിൻ.
CV will be comparatively more lengthier, just as what you said. Like a resume will be just 2 pages.
Okay.
CV
and what
will
about
be CV will be more pages, like 4 to 5. Like we are explaining everything, right? So it will be comparatively.
So it can go up to 4 to 5 pages, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, Fatima. So there are 3 major differences between a resume and CV. Right? The first one is the length, as Fatima was mentioning. Length in the sense, resumes are limited to 2 pages, but not for a CV. CV can go up to 3 or 4 pages because it includes the whole life career, right from your education to the job which you are doing right now. Whether you are doing a similar job or not, it's not a problem. Even if you are applying for a totally different position which you are working from now, it's not an issue. So some companies always insist on having a CV, but some tell about submitting a resume. Resumes are mentioned for people who for the job seekers who doesn't have much experience. ഒരുപാട് എക്സ്പീരിയൻസ് ഇല്ലാത്ത ആൾക്കാർക്കാണ് റെസ്യൂമെ സബ്മിറ്റ് ചെയ്യാൻ പറയുക. CV comes into a position where the job seeker have got so much of experience. ഒരുപാട് എക്സ്പീരിയൻസ് ഉണ്ട് അയാളുടെ ലൈഫ് ഹിസ്റ്ററിയിൽ, ഒരുപാട് കരിയർ ഹിസ്റ്ററിയിൽ ഒരുപാട് കാര്യങ്ങൾ അദ്ദേഹം ചെയ്തിട്ടുണ്ട് എങ്കിൽ they will be putting in a CV. All right, that's the first thing. Then the second one is the purpose. Again, going back to the resume is only meant for that particular job. ഏത് ജോബിനാണോ അപ്ലൈ ചെയ്യുന്നത് ആ ജോബിന് മാത്രമുള്ളതാണ് റെസ്യൂമെ എന്ന് പറയുന്നത്. ബട്ട് എ CV can be used for any job it might be. അവിടെയാണ് സ്വാതി പറഞ്ഞതിൽ ചെറിയൊരു കറക്ഷൻ വേണ്ടി വന്നത്. CV is not only mentioned for academic purpose, it is also mentioned for jobs also. But any job, ഏത് ജോലിക്കും ആകാം. And the layout. Here comes the next difference, the layout. As mentioned earlier, റെസ്യൂമേയിലുള്ള ലേഔട്ട് എന്ന് പറയുന്നത് ക്രൊണോളജിക്കൽ ആകണമെന്ന് യാതൊരു നിർബന്ധമില്ല. CV-യിൽ പക്ഷേ ക്രൊണോളജിക്കൽ ആയിട്ടാണ് പോവുക. Okay? CV is a full record of your career history, and a resume is a brief, targeted list of skills and achievements. Now, here comes the contents of a resume. Contents and order of a resume may vary from person to person. And this is another reason why I say not to take templates from internet. പുറമേ നിന്ന് അല്ലെങ്കിൽ മറ്റൊരു നിങ്ങളുടെ ഫ്രണ്ട് ഉപയോഗിച്ചുകൊണ്ടിരിക്കുന്ന അല്ലെങ്കിൽ നിങ്ങൾക്ക് ആരെങ്കിലും ഒരു മോഡലായിട്ട് തരുന്ന റെസ്യൂമെ ഉപയോഗിക്കരുത് എന്ന് പറയുന്നതിന്റെ കാരണം അതാണ്. പക്ഷെ നമ്മളിതൊക്കെ പറഞ്ഞാൽ പോലും ഒരു സീരിയസ് സെൻസിലേക്ക് എടുക്കുന്ന സമയത്ത് കുട്ടികൾ ആരും അത് അത്ര സീരിയസ് ആയിട്ട് കരുതാറില്ല. അപ്പോൾ തന്നെ അതിനകത്ത് ഒരുപാട് മിസ്റ്റേക്സ് ഉണ്ടാവാനുള്ള സാധ്യതയുണ്ട്. കാരണം ജോബ് ഇന്റർവ്യൂവിന് ഇരിക്കുന്ന ഇന്റർവ്യൂവിനെ സംബന്ധിച്ചിടത്തോളം that person can identify exactly how well are you prepared. ഒരു റെസ്യൂമെ പോലും സ്വന്തമായിട്ട് പ്രിപ്പയർ ചെയ്യാൻ അറിയില്ല അല്ലെങ്കിൽ ചെയ്യാൻ പറ്റാത്ത ഒരു കാൻഡിഡേറ്റിനെ വേണ്ട എന്ന് ഏതൊരു HR മാനേജറിനും ഉറക്കെ പറയാൻ പറ്റും. So always be serious about preparing your resume. The contents and order of a resume might be different for person to person. And the sequence, the data is from most important to least important. ഏറ്റവും ഇമ്പോർട്ടൻ്റ് ആയതിൽ നിന്ന് ലീസ്റ്റ് ഇമ്പോർട്ടൻ്റ് ആയതിലേക്ക് വേണം അത് കൊടുക്കാനായിട്ട്. Alright? And here comes the titles. Now let me see how many of you remember the titles which are being used in a resume. Can you put it in the chat box? Let me see. I'm waiting for your reply. What are the titles which are used in the resume? Resume നമ്മൾ സാധാരണ ഇതിൽ ഉപയോഗിക്കുന്ന ടൈറ്റിൽസ് എന്തൊക്കെയാണ്? ഒബ്ജക്റ്റീവ്, ഓക്കെ. ജോബ് ഒബ്ജക്റ്റീവ്, ഫാത്തിമ. ടു ബി എക്സാക്ട്, ജോബ് ഒബ്ജക്റ്റീവ്. ഓക്കെ. All right. Anything else? Fatima says it's job objective. Continue. അത് മാത്രമല്ല, ഒരു റെസ്യൂമേൽ വേറെ എന്തൊക്കെ ഇടാം അല്ലെങ്കിൽ ഉണ്ടാകും? അക്കാഡമിക് പ്രൊഫൈൽ സേസ് ആൻ മേരി. ഓക്കെ, ഗുഡ്. അക്കാഡമിക് പ്രൊഫൈൽ, which means your education status. Then പിന്നെ വേറെന്ത് വേണം? Contact list. Contact list in the sense, and Mary, you have thought about contact. Yeah, നിങ്ങളുടെ contact.
Yeah, like including phone number and mail ID, right?
Yeah, definitely. Yes. Okay. Thank you. Contact. Pinne. Anything else? Contact. Objective, academic profile, contact. What else is needed? Photo. Okay, says Anne Mary. Thank you, Anne Mary. Photo. Key skills and strengths. Okay, Swati. Thank you, Swati. Key skills and strengths. Then, where are the hobbies, address. Address again comes to the contact list which you mentioned. So, no problem. But, okay, hobbies. Achievements. Okay. Swati says achievements. Reference and experience, Joshwin says. Okay, good. Then, anything else? All right, thank you so much, guys, for putting in your comments. Hobbies, actually, it's not a necessary when you put it in a resume, unless they ask so. കാരണം ഹോബി അല്ലെങ്കിൽ നിങ്ങൾ ഏത് ജോബിനാണോ അപ്ലൈ ചെയ്യുന്നത് ആ ജോബുമായി ബന്ധപ്പെടുന്ന ഹോബീസ് നിങ്ങൾക്കുണ്ടെങ്കിൽ മെൻഷൻ ചെയ്യാം. അതല്ലാതെ സേ ഫോർ എക്സാമ്പിൾ സൈക്ലിംഗ് ഇഷ്ടമാണ് എന്ന് നമുക്ക് പറയാൻ പറ്റും, പക്ഷെ അതുമായി യാതൊരു ബന്ധവും ഇല്ലെങ്കിൽ അത്തരത്തിലുള്ള കാര്യങ്ങൾ കൊടുക്കാതിരിക്കുന്നതാണ് നല്ലത്. ആൻഡ് ഓൾസോ ദ അച്ചീവ്മെന്റ്സ്, ഓൾ ദോസ് പോയിന്റ്സ് വിച്ച് യു ഹാവ് മെൻഷൻ are very important. So we are moving to the titles, beginning with the heading. I have put it into different sorts. പല തട്ടിലായിട്ട് ഞാൻ അതിങ്ങനെ തിരിച്ചിട്ടുണ്ട്. Heading, that is where your full name, your phone number, email, mailing address, website URL, social networking sites if you have, then your blog or YouTube channel, all those things which comes under the contact. നേരത്തെ ആൻമേരി പറഞ്ഞിട്ടുള്ള കോൺടാക്ട് ലിസ്റ്റ് എന്ന് പറയുന്ന കാര്യങ്ങളിൽ വരുന്ന കാര്യങ്ങളാണ്. And it's all these things are put into the broad heading, broad title named heading. Your full name, your phone number, emails. Emailsന്റെ കാര്യം പറഞ്ഞപ്പോഴാണ് പ്രത്യേകിച്ച് ഓർത്തത്. ഇപ്പോൾ നമ്മുടെ ഈ ക്ലാസ് തുടങ്ങിയ സമയത്ത് തന്നെ I think it was Niranjana who came here with another name, isn't it? So what happens is whenever I receive an email from a person, I'll be looking for the name. So always go for a professional name-based email instead of naughty boy or naughty girl or something like that. അങ്ങനെയുള്ള പേരുകളൊക്കെ കൊടുക്കുന്നതിനേക്കാൾ നല്ലതെന്നല്ല എപ്പോഴും ചെയ്യേണ്ടത് go for a professional email address like your name. So suppose Subin Varghese@lisa.com, that's my email address for my professional use. So that's the better way you can put it. Then here comes the objective. I think it was Fatima who's told about objective. Now, objective is a place where you tell the employer what job you're looking for in a simple and concise manner. പൊതുവേ ഇത് നെറ്റിൽ തപ്പിക്കഴിഞ്ഞ് കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ ഒരുപാട് ഈ ജോബ് ഒബ്ജക്റ്റീവ്സ് കിട്ടും. അതിനകത്ത് ചൂസ് ചെയ്തോ കുഴപ്പമൊന്നുമില്ല, പക്ഷേ ഓൾവേസ് മേക്ക് ഷുവർ ദാറ്റ് യു ആർ യൂസിങ് ദ സെയിം ജോബ് ഒബ്ജക്റ്റീവ് വിച്ച് ഇസ് മെൻഷൻ ഫോർ യുവർ ജോബ്. കാരണം അതിനകത്ത് കൊടുത്തിരിക്കുന്ന ഡീറ്റെയിൽസ് ഒരു വളരെ ബ്ലാങ്ക് ആയിട്ടുള്ള, അല്ലെങ്കിൽ ഇൻ അനദർ സെൻസ് വളരെ ഓപ്പൺ ആയിട്ടുള്ള, വൈഡ് ആയിട്ടുള്ള ഒരു ഒബ്ജക്റ്റീവ് ആയിരിക്കും. സോ വാട്ട് ഐ പ്രിഫർ ഇസ് ടു ഗിവ് എ മോർ സ്പെസിഫിക് ജോബ് ഒബ്ജക്റ്റീവ്. വാട്ട് കൈൻഡ് ഓഫ് ജോബ് യു ആർ ലുക്കിംഗ് ഫോർ, ആ ജോബിന് കണക്കാക്കിയിട്ടുള്ള ജോബ് ഒബ്ജക്റ്റീവ് മെൻഷൻ ചെയ്യാൻ ഓർക്കുക. യുവർ എഡ്യൂക്കേഷൻ, നേരത്തെ പറഞ്ഞിട്ടുള്ള അച്ചീവ്മെന്റ്സ്, എഡ്യൂക്കേഷണൽ അച്ചീവ്മെന്റ്സ്, your degree or degrees, or your grade and grade point, or your the month of graduation and year of graduation comes important when you're looking for a job. Like, say for example, a company recruits only for the batch of 2021 pass out. അങ്ങനെയൊക്കെ വരുന്ന സമയത്ത് your month and year of graduation is very important. കാരണം ചില ഇപ്പോൾ വരുന്ന നോട്ടിഫിക്കേഷൻസിലൊക്കെ അങ്ങനെ മെൻഷൻ ചെയ്യുന്നുണ്ട്, 2019 ബാച്ചിലെ പാസ് ഔട്ട് ആകുന്ന കുട്ടികൾക്ക് മാത്രമുള്ളത് എന്നുള്ള തരത്തിലൊക്കെയാണ് ഇപ്പോൾ വരുന്നത്. ബിക്കോസ് ദേ നീഡ് ഫ്രഷ് കാൻഡിഡേറ്റ്സ്, ഒരുപാട് പഴയ കാൻഡിഡേറ്റ്സിനെ വേണ്ട എന്നുള്ളത് കൊണ്ടാണ്. സോ ദേ പുട്ട് ഇറ്റ് ഇൻ ദാറ്റ് മാനർ. ദെൻ ഇറ്റ്സ് ബെറ്റർ ടു പുട്ട് ഇറ്റ് ഇൻ ദ റിവേഴ്സ് ക്രോണോളജിക്കൽ ഓർഡർ. ഓക്കെ, ദെൻ here's another list of titles. Comes the experiences. What all experience do you have, whether it's paid or unpaid, whether it's related or other? You can put it in different titles. Related ആയിട്ടുള്ള job experience ഉണ്ടെങ്കിൽ അങ്ങനെ കൊടുക്കാം. If your experience is not related with something which is something which you're going to do, അത് അങ്ങനെയും കൊടുക്കാം. Paid or unpaid, some of the jobs which you do might be paid, some of them might be unpaid, like internships. നിങ്ങൾ ഇന്റേൺഷിപ്സിന് പോകുന്ന സമയത്ത് പലപ്പോഴും അത് അൺപെയ്ഡ് ആയിട്ടുള്ള എക്സ്പീരിയൻസ് ആയിരിക്കും. ബട്ട് സ്റ്റിൽ യു ബി ഹാവിംഗ് ആൻ എക്സ്പീരിയൻസ് സർട്ടിഫിക്കറ്റ് ഫ്രം ദ കമ്പനി വെയർ യു ആർ വർക്കിംഗ്. It's always better to have an experience from such companies. Then if you have done any field study about something which is related to your job which you are applying for. Class project, again, which is related to the job which you are applying for. നിങ്ങൾ ക്ലാസ്സിൽ ചെയ്തിട്ടുള്ള ഒരു ട്രാൻസ്ലേഷൻ പ്രോജക്റ്റ് കാണിക്കാനല്ല മെൻഷൻ ചെയ്യുന്നത്. Translation project can be used when you are applying for a job of a translator, no problem. അതല്ലാതെ നിങ്ങളൊരു സേ ഫോർ എക്സാമ്പിൾ ഗാർഡനറിന്റെ ജോബിനാണ് അപ്ലൈ ചെയ്യുന്നതെങ്കിൽ ഞാൻ പ്രൊജക്റ്റ് ആയിട്ട് ഗാർഡനിങ് പിന്നെ ഒരു ഹോൾ ബുക്ക് ട്രാൻസ്ലേറ്റ് ചെയ്ത് എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞതിൽ യാതൊരു അർത്ഥമില്ല. ബട്ട് ഇൻസ്റ്റെഡ് യു ക്യാൻ ഷോ ദം എക്സ്പീരിയൻസ് ഇൻ ഗാർഡനിങ് ഇൻ സം പ്ലേസ്, അങ്ങനെ വേണമെങ്കിൽ ചെയ്യാം. ഓക്കെ, then volunteering, if you have volunteered for COVID activities, you can put it. or if you have held certain positions while you were doing your studies, you can mention those things. Okay, these all things comes under the heading experience. Then comes to your skills. It includes your computer skills, your lab skills if you have any, your language skills if you have. In some companies, they mention that the candidate should be able to read, write, and speak in Hindi, English, and Malayalam. അങ്ങനെയൊക്കെ ചിലപ്പോൾ കമ്പനീസ് പറയാറുണ്ട്. ലൈക്ക് ഇപ്പോൾ BPO കോളിംഗ് സെന്ററിലേക്കൊക്കെയാണ് എടുക്കുന്നതെങ്കിൽ, if you're looking for jobs and call centers and all those things, they might be mentioning it in the job opening, saying that you have to manage calls from US and UK. US and UK clients handle ചെയ്ത് പരിചയമുള്ള ആൾക്കാർ വേണം എന്നൊക്കെ മെൻഷൻ ചെയ്യാറുണ്ട്. There you have to mention your language skills also. Then your lab skills, if it's important. Otherwise, you needn't put the heading lab skills and write something which is not necessary. Computer skills, again, basic computer skills are very much necessary nowadays, like like working on a computer, a Word documentation, or like PowerPoint presentation. All those things are very much necessary. So don't boast saying that I know how to open Word and type in a word. No, that's basic computer skill which you have to learn by 12th standard. Okay, so other than that, if you have any other computer skills like web designing or graphic designing or UI designing for mobile applications, all those things can be included. Then certifications and licensures, if you have any, regarding the job which you are looking for. Suppose you are looking for a job in teaching position and you have a job, if you have a certificate of teaching certification by Cambridge University or TOEFL, all those things can be included. Okay, then if you have additional licenses like first aid or certification for CPR and all those things can also be included in certifications. References, as someone, I think it was Jishwin, what your name was? Joshwin, sorry, Joshwin had mentioned about references, which is not actually necessary in a resume, but you can prepare it in an extra page. Because if the company asks you for a reference, you can submit it. Otherwise, it is not necessary that you put the references on a resume. Because as I mentioned earlier, resume are meant for people who don't have much experience. So if you don't have much experience, you don't have any other references also, isn't it? So interests and hobbies, again, it is another set of unnecessary or irrelevant unless it's so important. Okay, mention only the hobbies or interests which are really important for the job which you are looking for. Publications, again, it depends upon the job which you are looking for. If the job which you are looking for, like ഒരു കാഷ്യറിന്റെ ജോബിലേക്കാണെങ്കിൽ അവിടെ പബ്ലിക്കേഷൻസിന് ഇമ്പോർട്ടൻസ് ഇല്ല. സോ ഇഫ് യു ഹാവ് എനി, കയ്യിൽ വെച്ചോളൂ, വേറൊരു ജോബിന് അപ്ലൈ ചെയ്യുമ്പോൾ ഉപയോഗിക്കാം. There are different types of resumes. One is chronological resume, which is the most commonly used format, wherein the work history will be in a chronological order. Okay, and your most recent job down to your earliest will be the order. ഏറ്റവും റീസെന്റ് ആയിട്ടുള്ള ജോബ് ഏതാണോ അതായിരിക്കും ഏറ്റവും മുകളിൽ ഉണ്ടാവുക. ഏറ്റവും താഴെയുള്ളത് നിങ്ങൾ ആദ്യം ചെയ്തിട്ടുള്ള ജോബ് ആയിരിക്കും. ആർക്കാണ് അത് ഉപയോഗിക്കാൻ പറ്റുക? The people who have solid work history without any lapse between employment. ജോലിക്കിടയിൽ വേറെ ഗ്യാപ്പുകളൊന്നും ഇല്ലാതെ കണ്ടിന്യൂസ് ആയിട്ട് ജോലി ചെയ്തു പോകുന്ന ആൾക്കാർക്ക് യൂസ് ചെയ്യാൻ പറ്റുന്ന ഒരു റെസ്യൂമെയാണ് chronological resume എന്ന് പറയുന്നത്. You don't have any work gaps. Okay, but you people are going to use a functional resume because you don't have enough experience. All you're going to do is you always go for your focus on your skills and experience which you have. നിങ്ങളുടെ സ്കിൽസ് എന്താണോ അതിനാണ് ഇമ്പോർട്ടൻസ് കൊടുക്കുക. It de-emphasizes days in which you have worked. അതായത് ഗ്യാപ്പുകൾ ഉണ്ടെങ്കിൽ, if you are working say from 2016 to 2020, but you took a break in 2020 to 21, then you begin to work in 2022. അങ്ങനെയൊക്കെയുള്ള സമയത്ത് always emphasize the usage of your skills instead of the dates. Employment history will be secondary in such kind of resumes. And who can use it? The people who have got employment lapses in employment, or you are in a career transition. Suppose you are working as a clerical job till now. From day 2 or next day onwards, you are going to work as a teacher. There is a career transition. Then you can use a functional resume, because you don't have experience as a teacher. So you should always focus on your skills. Like college graduates like you people, or people who have limited work experience only. There are combination resumes also. It focuses on both skills and experiences, which is flexible in nature. People who can use it as, like, if you want to detail work experience, you use a combination resume. And in the next slide, I'm actually preparing or showing you a set of websites where you can get some templates. And again, let me remind you, it's not necessary that you should go and get a template. My humble request is not to download a template and edit it, but instead, you may take it as a reference, build it for your own, so that you can say that this is something which I have built. You can't blame another person for having the mistakes in your resume. The only person to blame is you yourself. So this is a set of websites where you can find out templates of resumes and cover letters and all those things. Use it with caution. And this is 2 different types of resume which I found out on the internet. ഇത്രയും ഭംഗിയാക്കിയൊക്കെ ചെയ്യാൻ നിങ്ങൾക്ക് അറിയുമെങ്കിൽ ചെയ്യുക. Or it's not necessary that you have to design it in this manner. ഇങ്ങനെ തന്നെ വേണം എന്നൊന്നും ഒരു കമ്പനിയും പറയത്തില്ല. Suppose even there are companies which mention about writing a resume by hand. കൈകൊണ്ട് എഴുതി കൊടുക്കാൻ പോലും പറയുന്ന കമ്പനീസ് ഉണ്ട്. They want it to be written by yourself, not designed or pre-defined ആയിട്ടുള്ള templates-ലൊന്നും കൊടുത്താൽ പറ്റില്ല. It's a 2 samples, and thank you. So if you have any doubts regarding this session, you are free to inquire it with me now. I hope you enjoyed the session also. Any doubts? Perfect. No doubts at all. So shall we wind up the session?
Yes, sir.
All right.